I've been working with couples for 15 years in couples counseling. And the one thing that I see couples do time and time again is they want their partner to mind read what their needs are. Now, number one, your needs are not obvious to your partner. Just want to get that out of the way. They can't mind read, they don't have those secret superpowers. And number two, it may not be intuitive what your needs are because they have a different personality. They have a different upbringing. Their needs are different than your needs. I use my needs as a map to try to figure out other people. And sometimes that works. Often that fails because people aren't wired the same way I'm wired. And so that puts a responsibility on me to figure other people out. But let's just make it easy for our partners by articulating and explaining and defining what your needs are. So, my name's Dr. Daniel Bates. I work with couples who are faced with these kinds of issues, and this is how I coach them and guide them, and specifically in the area of coaching your partner on how to meet your needs. So, what I tell partners to number one is to define what your needs are. If you can't define them, it doesn't matter how much explaining and communicating you do, your partner's never going to be able to meet your needs satisfactorily if you can't articulate and define them very clearly. So define and be clear as possible. And then number two, you got to say it. You've got to articulate it explicitly and have a lot of conversations about it. And it won't bother your partner. Um, it will make them happy because now they're equipped with information on how to meet your needs and make you feel loved and cared for. That makes them feel good, right? So maybe there's a selfish motivation here, but I would say this is not selfish. This is altruistic. I'm explaining my needs to my partner so that they can feel excited and equipped and empowered to meet my needs. And then that makes me want to return the favor, right? So it's this reciprocal mutuality that just builds relationships over time. So I want to give you four basic ideas on how to do this. Okay. But before I do that, I want to go back to the idea of defining and articulating. So I want you to think in 7 areas. I know I just threw out a lot of numbers right there, but I want you to think about what does emotional support look like for you. So be able to maybe define that and give examples and be able to explain it. Um, how does your partner meet your needs when it comes to touch and affection, to intimacy and sex, to problem solving and collaboration, with friendship and fun, and then with shared responsibilities like, child rearing, money, uh, domestic division of labor, those kinds of things. Be able to define what your needs are in each of those areas and then have a conversation. Don't wait for your partner to mind read and pick up the little breadcrumbs of what you get annoyed with or what makes you smile. Let's just cut to the chase and be adults here and define it and articulate what your needs are in those areas. Okay, so here's my number one: clarity. Now, you may say what your needs are in your language and in your world, but you kind of have to build a bridge into your partner's world. Okay, so be able to use their language, use their references, speak to what makes sense to them, and so that you can build that bridge over there and then they can follow you back over to the bridge to your brain, to your world, to your needs. So that requires a conversation. They might have questions. They might be confused. They might have a misunderstanding. They may even try it. They'll say, yeah, I can do that. I'll try it. And then they'll get it wrong. That's okay. Don't take that personally. Don't get upset. Just say, this is an opportunity for me to bring clarity. So now I will clarify, add more information, clear up some of the misunderstandings, and clarify, clarify, clarify. So I'm just removing more barriers out of that, out of the way of the bridge, so my partner can keep coming back over the bridge to me. Number two, provide constructive feedback on what your partner is doing and how they could have done better. But make sure you tell them what they did right before you tell them what they did wrong. I think we're very quick to point out what didn't work and why. That's okay. That's good information. If you're being constructive and doing this in earnest and in a good faith effort to give them information that will help them better meet your needs, that's fine. But first and foremost, tell them what they did right. Even if their intention was in the right place, but their behavior was way off. Okay. Hey, I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your good intentions, you trying. But here's how maybe you could have done things a little bit better. Here's one thing to consider next time you try. Okay, so that's number one, clarity. Number two, provide constructive feedback. And then number three, praise. Praise, praise, praise. So let's say you clarify, you give feedback, and then they finally, everything just kind of falls into place and they do the thing that you want. Praise them. And I've had partners say, "No, I'm not doing that," because when they're meeting my needs, that's a basic expectation. Now, I kind of do this with my kids sometimes, so it stings a little bit because it's like if my kid does their chore, I'm like, I'm not praising my kid for doing their chore. That's a basic expectation. They should be doing that without praise. And so I think, and I should be praising my kids because I want to reinforce those behaviors, right? But I've seen partners do this with their partners too. Is I'm not going to praise them because that's a basic expectation of meeting my emotional needs in those 7 areas you listed before, Dan. So that's just what they should be doing on autopilot by default. And then anything above and beyond, that's what I'll praise. No, 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 no. Praise whatever you want to see happen again. Okay? If they're doing the thing that you want and you would like them to do that again tomorrow or the next week or the next month or on whatever frequency or basis that you want, give it a praise, give it a shout out, give it an attaboy or an attagirl, and make sure they feel good for doing the thing that made you feel good. And it's not transactional. It's not like this obligatory thing. It's just like I'm gonna be smart about this because this is how human behavior works. I'm kind of hacking the system here. And frankly, if I tried something new or different to meet my partner, I would want that response. I want that stimulus response to know that the thing I did worked. So we all do better with feedback, and you're just providing that feedback and breaking this cycle of wanting them to mind read. And then when they do the thing that you want them to do, you say nothing. No, we're going more words, more explicit, more direct, more articulation. Okay. More is better in this situation. Okay. The fourth and final piece that I want to leave you with is repeat the process regarding their needs. Okay. So you've done all this wonderful work. You've defined what your needs are. You've thought through those 7 categories of emotional support: touch and affection, intimacy and sex, problem solving and collaboration, friendship and fun, shared responsibility. So you've thought through all those significant areas of your relationship, defined what your needs are. You've clarified them. You've explained them. You've had conversations. You've given examples. When they tried, you gave feedback to build them up that was constructive. And when it didn't work, you gave them some tips on how they could try better next time, not just smack them and slam them down. Um, and then you praise them when they hit the target, right? So then repeat the process with them. You're going to ask them what their needs are and can they define them and does it make sense to you? And so make this a fun, shared, reciprocal activity that you do between each other. And I promise you, this is the best and only way to avoid the mind reading trap. Because the mind reading trap is a killer. It just doesn't work. There's nothing about it that makes any sense, right? That I'm just going to sit here and think you should just know what I want and need just because I'm sitting here looking at you, sending the thoughts that way. Doesn't work. All right. Now, if you have been guilty of the mind reading trap, and I've already owned up to my guilt in it, please comment or share, or more importantly, share your way of navigating around the mind reading trap. Maybe you found a better alternative than my idea of coaching your partner on how to better meet your needs. Maybe you've got something from this video. I hope you did. Or maybe you've got some ideas that I haven't considered. I would love to hear your thoughts on that because I think folks have shared a lot of great ideas and tips and tricks in the comment section, and I'm having a great time having those discussions. And maybe you comment something, and it inspires me, and I'll do a video on your comment. But yeah, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, because I want to hear your thoughts. All right, thanks for watching.